Hey guys, so you're getting a random twofer for today. Um, because this situation just came up and it's really gotten me kind of heated in a sense, but I feel like very passionately about this subject. So, as you guys know, if you've seen my dog bite video or watched any of my videos that have pertained to the place I currently work, we all know I'm not happy where I'm at, right? I am labeled as a 1099. My injuries during the dog fight incident when I was bit by a dog that was in the daycare, I wasn't compensated in any way. And all in all, like me as an employee, I'm not valued to my workplace at all. Um, Basically, just to be transparent with you, because that's just the person I am, I needed to use the grooming shop this weekend. My dogs are a ratty mess, and I just really need to groom them. I don't have time when I'm there working, because when I'm there working, I'm there like open to close, like working constantly the whole time. I just don't have time to groom my dogs because they're all German Shepherd mixes, and the pit bull can't come because he's aggressive towards other dogs. Pit bull's name is Rocco. I feel like rude just referring to him as that. But anyway, so bringing them to work with me really just hasn't been an option. So I really needed to use the shop this weekend. Now, as we all know, I'm labeled as a 1099 employee. So basically, my employer told me that I was not allowed to use their shop on the weekend because 1099 employees are not, she said that their insurance doesn't cover me to be there by myself, that a W-2 employee or a real employee essentially has to be there for me to even be able to use my shop. That was pretty upsetting to me because not only do I like work my ass off, I should be labeled as a W-2 employee anyway. So it's kind of like, okay, so wait a second. Since you have me illegally misclassified, now I can't have access to like thousands of dollars of my equipment on the weekends because I'm not classified correctly, because you don't have me classified correctly. Like, I'm sorry, like, I hate to be that bitch, and this is so a rant, and I'm so sorry if this is, I hate being that person, I really do, but I'm doing this because I know I'm not the only groomer in this position, and I want to let people know it's okay to stand up for yourself, and it's okay to know what your worth is, and to tell companies to fuck off. I'm sorry. Like, if people aren't going to appreciate what you're bringing to the table as an artist and as a skilled professional that has a trade that not everybody wants to do or can do, you know, we are bringing something to the table that is very special, and to be treated so poorly that you can't even be a 1099, or you can't even be a legal employee. Like, we're not even getting the offer to be a W-2 employee. And let me just skip ahead a little bit just to make a little more sense as to why I'm so upset. Because of all the going-ons at the shop I'm currently at, and because they decided that I can't come up here on the weekends to use my stuff, I was like, you know what? I know my worth. I know I'm worth a lot, so I'm going to go apply at another grooming shop just because I know I'll get the job, and I wanted to be able to be like, hey, here's another offer, so either you guys can start treating me better or I'm going to go somewhere else. I go into this shop that is like the biggest shop in my area, and I go in and turn in my resume, and she starts asking me like why I want to leave the current place I'm at. And I told her, I was like, well, I'm a 1099 employee, and I was bit by a daycare dog, and basically the situation was handled very poorly, and I'm not happy, and I would like to go somewhere where I feel a little bit more safe. First thing she has to say to me is, well, we're 1099 too. So the biggest shop in my area, other than like PetSmart, which, I mean, not, like, if you're a PetSmart groomer, please don't take that the wrong way, but I'm not including them because they're corporate, so they're just going to do things different. Like, they're going to do things the corporate way. I'm talking small business. So we're talking the biggest small business in my area. They have multiple locations, and they can't even be bothered to make their groomers W-2. So you're telling me I'm worth that little that you're not willing to pay, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure groomers are supposed to be W-2 no matter where you're at. And if you have evidence that that's not the case, please share it with me. I'm in a group on Facebook that's called Groomers Misclassified, and it's literally a bunch of groomers all talking about this problem in the grooming industry, that we are being paid as 1099 workers when we are supposed to be W-2. We should be covered under their workers' comp if we get bit. And to me, it's just so insulting that the biggest grooming shop, not just to me, but their groomers that are working there right now should be covered. And when I asked them what their, because they were like, oh, well, we're 1099 too. I said, well, what is your policy on if somebody, like if I were to get bit? And they didn't even know what their policy was. They were like, and it was the owner of the business I'm talking to. And she's like, let me ask my groomer. And then the groomer had to go ask somebody else. They were like, I don't know. We don't get bit here very often. And it's like, okay, being bitten isn't a regular thing. I'm not trying to imply that, but you should have a disaster plan. I was literally just talking about a disaster plan in my last video about the holistic dog grooming book. You should have a disaster plan, and it's just incredible to me that we are not labeling our groomers as W-2s. Like, am I insane? Like, maybe I'm nuts, but from my understanding, groomers should not be labeled as 1099. I thought it was some, like, strange circumstance that I was even being paid as 1099, and finding out that the biggest shop in our industry, the biggest shop in our area is also paying people as a 1099 just shows me how little value groomers are to these employers. I mean, you can't even cover me if I get bit by a dog. They said their policy is that it would have been on me. So if I went to this shop, I got bit, same circumstances, the exact same outcome is what would happen. But the reason I won't be going there or bringing back my application or whatever is when I mentioned that I made videos, then all of a sudden, as a 1099, which I should be my own boss, correct? They told me I would not be allowed to make videos. So I was like, well, unfortunately, I can't do that. I have subscribers that count on me, and I'm on a PR list. You know, like, I can't just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to stop making videos because this place I might work at for a couple years decided that they're not okay with me making videos. Like, I'm sorry. I could make a lot more progress on YouTube than I probably would in the shop, which would be it's just, I'm sorry, I'm, like, so heated on this subject, but it's just, like, really got me on this whole train of thought of, like, I feel like groomers are underappreciated. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I've heard June the Groomer talk about it as well. And, you know, I think I've even mentioned it, and if I haven't, then I'm going to mention it now, to be careful. These people that you work with, know your worth. Even if it is somebody you work for, you go and try to apply there and they're giving you all of these restrictions that don't even make sense. Like, I'm sorry, if I'm a 1099, like, you're not even going to cover me as an employee if I get bit, but you want me to stop making videos? Like, basically stop all my progress in the grooming industry, because why? What could possibly be the issue with me making videos? You know, I'm not going to make videos dragging the shop. And it was just, I'm still, like, I don't want anybody to think because I was trying to apply somewhere else that meant that I'm not still trying to open my own business. I actually went and talked to somebody, actually this is a much lighter, happier note. I went and talked to the lady that does zoning in this area, and basically she was super supportive, super nice, and she is really going to fight hard for me to be able to open my business in Williamston. She was worried about, I just saw the TV go off, but she was worried that I'm probably going to have to, like, really fight the zoning. Like, she said it wasn't impossible, but it's not going to be an easy task to get them to approve me to run my business out of my garage, which kind of sucks because I thought when we bought the house that this had already been looked into, but apparently it hadn't. And I mean, we're this far now, I own the house, so there's no going back. But for some reason, if I can't open the business in the shop, she's going to help me find a building. and she's going to help me do whatever I need to do to open my doors. So it's going to be fine regardless. But to me, this is lighting a fire underneath me. I'm like, I have to get this business going, and I want to open a good, solid grooming business that I can hire in groomers for what they're worth and take care of them. Like, I want to be able to pay for them to have education. Like, a lot of these companies should be providing education. I'm sorry, they should. That's something that you should be budgeting for to make your employees even better. You want to educate them. You want them to know what's going on. Your employees should be CPR and first aid certified. That's $100 per employee every 2 years. Like, invest it. And then if you have an emergency, your staff knows what to do. You can market that kind of stuff. So just, anyway, if you're an employer, especially if you're an employer that runs a grooming or daycare or any dog-related business, but you have not worked with dogs, the least that you could do is educate yourself. There is so much free education. And there's education that you can pay for too, which is a tax write-off. So you should be going to any animal-related events near you. Typically, like, I know Atlanta Pet Fair and Hershey both offer classes for business owners. So if you don't have education in the animal field, that should be your priority. Because the problem I'm seeing, especially in my area, is these people opening a business and being like, I like dogs. And then they open a business, they have no idea what they're doing, and they're running an unsafe establishment for not only their employees, but for every dog that walks through the door. And I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm just like getting so heated and I'm just like yelling at you guys. I want you to know that I am upset about this because I am tired of seeing groomers who are putting their all into what they love to do being treated this way. Like, we can't even get a W-2. We really can't even get a W-2. I can tell you, like, you know, most of us, even at 4 or 5 dogs a day, $1,000 a week is nothing for us that we're bringing into the shop. You know, to me, I just can't fathom why we can't be listed as a regular employee and being covered under workers' comp. That should be a given. In my opinion, we should be covered under workers' comp. And I can tell you with my business, I'm going to make sure that my employees are covered. This is something I've already looked into. I've already looked into insurance, and I'm going to have my boyfriend helping me with large dogs. He will be insured if he gets hurt, which is workers' compensation. And if he were to hurt a dog, I am covered for that too. These are important things that you need to make sure your salon, and I know probably not a lot of salon owners are following this, but if you are a groomer, just please know your worth. Please know your worth. If you are investing thousands of dollars into education, into products, your shears, whatever, then you should be compensated accordingly. And if your company or who you're working for is not treating you as such, if they're not valuing your work, then go somewhere that does. Because honestly, to me, I can't even, like, getting myself to wake up every morning and go into a job that I hate is everything that I can do. And I just want to let you guys know that you guys are worth so much more than this. I know the subject of licensing grooming is a very touchy subject, talking about licensing, but please keep in mind, if you're against licensing for grooming, keep in mind, just think, okay, if we had licensing for grooming, maybe we could have a little bit more sway. Maybe we could say, hey, you know what? We deserve to be W-2. We deserve to be protected if a dog bites us, because the reality of our career is that we could get bitten and we should be covered for that. That's ridiculous. The thought that an employer would let a groomer get bit and then look at them and say, oh, I'm sorry, this is on you. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So just think about it. I know that licensing is something that's being talked about right now, and if you're opposed to it, just think about it, okay? Think about the fact that now we can say we're licensed professionals. So those clients that come off the street and they try to not take us seriously, act like our career is a joke or whatever they act like, we are licensed professionals. Just think about that. it's worth it. I really think it is. It will raise the standards. It will stop us from being put in positions that we're being hired in ways that we shouldn't. I mean, the licensing for grooming can do a lot of really good things. So just keep that in mind too. If it's something you're opposed to, June the Groomer, I've talked about this before. He has a whole video on licensing. He talks to the lady, we all know Bijou's bill if we're in the dog community. He talks to Bijou's mom about what she's asking for as far as licensing and grooming. And I know a lot of people were really opposed to that bill, but I think it's worth going and watching June's video and seeing what she has to say, okay? Because she's not coming for groomers in the way that you feel like she is, in the way that it's portrayed on certain grooming forums, okay? Because I've seen people say, like, really demonize her. And keep in mind, if licensing does happen for grooming, it's not like veterinarians or non-groomers would be the ones doing the state board tests. They would be the top groomers in the industry that would be testing us, just like in any other field, okay? It's a lot, with me having cosmetology background, this is really no big deal to me. The fact that we can be groomers without licensing is kind of shocking to me, coming from an industry where licensing was required, continuing education was required, all of these things. There were safety standards. You know, you could get audited at any time, or what's it called when the state board comes out and they come and check your salon. That's a possibility. But I think that this industry needs to be more regulated, and we need to get more on par with things, because the way that groomers are being treated is unacceptable. And I think without proper licensing and rules in place, I don't see that changing. But if I'm going to do anything for this industry, that is the one thing I want to change. I want us to be taken seriously. I want us paid correctly. And I want to see us get opportunities based off of things. If we are sitting here promoting products, then the least these companies get, not even promoting, if we're buying like hundreds of dollars worth of things every month, we should get a free shampoo here and there. You know what I'm saying? Like this, the fact that we're treated the way we are and we don't get the same opportunities as other fields is just ridiculous to me. And I think that the grooming industry can do better. And I hope that I can help that in some way. I'm a small YouTuber. I'm a small person in this grooming industry right now, but if I can do anything for you guys, I hope that I can contribute to us being treated better, because I think we deserve it. And I think that as somebody that came from a cosmetology school background, I can tell you what we do is 10 times more difficult. It is. I'm sorry. I promise you right now, if I went and sat in a stylist chair and they held my head in a certain position, said to stay like that, I would do it. You know, and that right there, you cannot ask the same as a dog for a dog. If we moved around in their chair the way that dogs move around on our table, I promise they'd have something to say. So for anybody, because I've seen people talk about like cosmetologists like saying that their job is more hard, that's debatable, but I've done both, and I can tell you that grooming is a lot more challenging. It takes a lot more patience. The one thing that cosmetology has that we don't have to deal with the customers to the same extent. We don't have to sit a customer in our chair and work on them for hours. Some of us do, though. Some of us let the customers stay, and more power to you. But I'm just saying, we have a difficult job and we deserve to be respected. So if somebody's not being respectful to you, then you tell them I said fuck off. Okay? I'm just being honest. I'm sorry about this rant, but this is something that I'm so passionate about, and I know I'm not alone in this, because I've had other groomers reach out to me and tell me they've experienced similar things, and it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable that we are being treated this way. And yeah, I just needed to vent about that, because I think that the fact that, you know, all the grooming shops in my area, I can't even get a job as a W-2. I think maybe PetSmart does W-2. I don't know. But from my understanding, the way that they're cheating us as 1099s is not even how a 1099 is supposed to work. Because these places are still booking our schedule. They're handling the money. They're, you know, doing all of these things. But from my understanding, if they're, you know, booking our clients and whatever and telling us what days we're working, then we're not a 1099 employee. Because from my understanding, a 1099 gets to set their own schedule completely. So, I don't know. Food for thought. I hope that this helped somebody out. Maybe it was what you needed to hear today, because I felt like I needed to say it. And I try to make my videos really happy and, keep it a positive world over here. But I'm just saying the grooming industry is not always a positive place. And I hope that changes. I hope that we're taken a lot more seriously, and I hope people start to understand what we're worth, because we are worth a lot more than that. So this industry is growing. If you're a new groomer, I wish you the best of luck, and I promise you things are changing and things will get better. So no worries. I hope 5-10 years from now I hear that there are no shops that are paying as a 1099. I hope that we're all covered under workers' comp, because we deserve to be. We're working a dangerous job. We're working long hours with little to no breaks. So the least we deserve is general workers' compensation if we were to get bit by a dog, because it's always a possibility. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I'm so sorry about the rant, but I think it was something that needed to be said. I know that I needed to get it off of my chest, because after dealing with this company today that I went and applied for, I was very disappointed. I had really hoped, as one of the bigger companies in the industry, I keep saying in the industry, in my area, as like the bigger grooming place in the area that I'm located in, I thought that they would have a lot more to offer. So seeing that is very disappointing to me. And I hope that we see change in this industry very soon. And like I said, if you're a groomer, just have hope. We're going to fight for this together, and we will be treated the way that we deserve to be treated. It will happen. I promise. So thank you guys for listening and for watching. And I hope that you have a great Monday. I'm going to go ahead and upload this today. But I appreciate everybody that watches my videos, and I appreciate you listening to me rant for a minute, because I needed to get that off my chest. But I feel better now, and yeah, I hope this helps somebody else feel better too. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Thank you. Bye.